Hello and welcome, guys, to Bitcoin analysis by long-term trades. Today we're going to be having a look at the sad truth behind Bitcoin and why most people lose their money when they get into the markets, and what you can do to actively improve your knowledge of Bitcoin and how to trade it, as well as how to invest in it. If we can go back to, well, as far back as I can go on my charts. It stops at the 8th of June 2018, and it says that the market started at $7,587. And we know that's not true, but that is just when my chart started. Everything starts at a value of 0 and moves accordingly. If I'm thinking about Bitcoin in the long term, though, if I'm looking from this high that we've had on my charts, and I go all the way down to the lowest low over here, that is a loss of 62%, 63%, okay? So if we're thinking about it, from here to there, that's 63%. That's quite a lot of money that people have essentially lost. So if you purchased over here, right, and you sold down there, you would have essentially then lost 63% of the value, right? Makes sense. Okay. If I'm looking over here, okay, from our high that Bitcoin had in 2019, okay, if I go down to the low, okay, that lost 72% of its value. So if I'm highlighting that area, okay, a couple months later, lost 72% of the value, right? If we're looking at it in today, if I'm looking between these two zones, from the next major high to the major low, okay, I can see that Bitcoin lost 54% of its value, okay? Now, today, we are looking at our high that we've got over here, okay? And we need to think, okay, where do we want Bitcoin to go into? Which areas are we looking at? And we are currently inside my area that I think Bitcoin is actually going to bounce back from to make a new high. So if we're looking, it is between $38,000 per Bitcoin and $30,000 or $31,000. So this is the area that I'm going to be looking at buying. Right? I want to buy and I want to hold for a couple of months, and I want to ride the next wave, essentially. I want to make money and then I want to sell it when it gets to the top. So as soon as the news, the media, everybody is back onto the Bitcoin train, that is when I want to start looking at my exit strategies. You know, you don't want to get out at the very top. You want to get out at a point where you've made a good profit. That is what we're here for, is for making a profit, right? We don't need to say that we got in at the very, very bottom and rode it to the very top. That is not what we're looking for. We want to say, okay, we got in here and we got out at this zone because that is where we wanted to make our money. That's how much money we wanted to make out of it. Okay, so we know that that was the last major high. And since the market has pushed down, now we're inside my zones. So now we need to start thinking, okay, what am I looking for? So if I can go back in time on Bitcoin, okay, if I'm looking from the last major high to our major low, right? If I'm just tracking all of the candlesticks, right? I'm looking for engulfing candles, and I can see that when we come down here to the last major low, that is the first time that we had an engulfing candle. So if I can just highlight that area, right? That is an engulfing candle. If I can zoom in a bit, then I can show you exactly. So how an engulfing candle works is that if I'm looking at this little red candle, the engulfing candle is engulfing it. It is covering it completely. It is much larger than the little red candle, right? So those are kind of candles that I am looking for when I'm looking at purchasing markets or selling markets. I'm looking for engulfing candles going along with what I already know to be true. If I'm going to the next major high, right? So that was this area, and that was the major low. If you're just tracking it, you can see, okay, there was an engulfing candle that would have given you a bit. Okay, but what we're looking for is we're looking, okay, down here when it got to the major low, which means it lost more than 50% of its value. I think this one was 72%. We can see here was an engulfing candle. Let me highlight it for you. Okay. So we can see a little red candle followed by a massive blue candle that engulfed it. Okay, and that gave us some very good buying opportunities, and the media got involved and Bitcoin skyrocketed again. Okay, coming back down. Okay, if you're just looking for your engulfing, there's an engulfing candle. That wasn't a bad entry point. Okay, so let me highlight this one. That wasn't a bad entry. You got in here, you made quite a bit of money on the next up wave, but this is one that we're looking at the moment. It is this engulfing candle. Okay, let me just make it nice. Okay, so another one, and it signaled basically the turn. It showed us that, okay, we are now changing direction, we are moving. Okay, and since then we have pushed all the way up, and now we've made a new high. Okay, and that is what I'm looking for now. So I'm looking for an engulfing bullish candle in my area, in my zone. Okay, that is what I'm looking for. If the market wants to continue to go sideways, I'm not interested until I get my entry signal. How I trade my Bitcoin is that I purchase and I don't have a stop loss. So I adjust to say, okay, I'm willing to lose that amount of money, essentially. So if Bitcoin goes to 0, I'm following it down to 0. Okay, what you don't want to do is you don't want to get caught out. What the market does sometimes is it pushes low and it breaks the low, and then all of a sudden now you have been kicked out of the trade. If we're looking at this area here for an example, okay, if you had your stop loss sitting here, you're probably taken out in this area, in these zones, okay, because of spread or whatever. Okay, you don't want to be part of those kind of moves. You want to get in and you want to get out at your own free will. So you don't want to have a stop loss when you're trading Bitcoin. You essentially want to be investing in it, and you will manually take your trade off. So whatever your risk is, if you've got $3,000 in your account, you need to adjust for that $3,000, and you need to say, okay, I can afford for Bitcoin to go down to $10,000 before I have to close the trade, or I can afford for it to go to 0, or I can only afford for it to go down to 20,000. So you need to make your adjustments and think. If we're looking at it, we can see the major moves that it made. So we can see it went down, and from this low to this high, we can see that was 280%. So let's say 300%, just for the sake of easiness. If we're looking from this low to this high, okay, that was 1,000%, okay. And if we're looking from over here to the high, we can see that this was 100%. So that doesn't really give us any correlation. We can see a correlation between the market losing a certain amount in each of its downfalls. Okay, so we can see it losing, but we can't really see exactly where it is going to go to. Again, you've seen the one is only 100%, other one is 300%, other one is 1,000%. So you don't want to predict that. You want to let the market ride, and you want to take it off as you see that people are getting involved, and as soon as everybody is in the market, that is when you want to start getting out of the market. Okay, this was my Bitcoin analysis. We are in the zone that I am looking to buy, and I hope that you follow for more. Subscribe.